Woohoo! All right.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Summoner's Circle. We're gonna have a guest here today, our auxiliary member, Pin. Say hello.
Hello, my name is Pinheadious.
Introduce
Love
yourself.
it.
Tell us a little bit about you. Who's your favorite character?
Oh, my signature character would have to be Storm Pyramid X. In
Good
fact,
one.
I'm
Nice.
glad I finally got a 7-star version of her and brought her to rank 2 before I quit the game recently. But yeah, my signature character is Storm Pyramid X.
Fantastic character. I'm guessing an MROC fan.
Sort of, at the very least.
Rest in
She
peace.
was what? She was actually my first 7-star I opened. Was when the first day, the day they released, that was the one I opened, and I'm like, I think I'm really happy. And then there was a few others that I opened that day, but she's fantastic. That's a great character to have as your signature. And what a
Oh yeah.
great last rank up to do.
My last rank up. Oh shoot, that's hard to think about. I don't know per se. I'm pretty sure my last ascension though was Gallon, unless I'm also wrong about that and it was Archangel. As for rank up,
Fantastic.
hmm.
How long ago did you quit?
A couple of weeks ago actually, so I should know this stuff, but I don't.
No, completely fine. We have a lot to talk about, so I kind of want to get right to a really pressing question I have for you guys.
Let's do it.
Okay.
What the heck's been going on in this game? We have had some controversies and some really interesting stuff, and I think it's important we get into some of it. We're going to stay positive here today. Not going to get too dark on it, but I would like to ask a really pressing question. Did Do you guys think that Kabam changed the rules a few too many times on the community, and that's kind of why we're dealing with what we're dealing with now, with the just people very angry with how rewards are being handled? And by that I mean, when I first started playing, came back to the game, it was just before Abyss came out. I mean, I had been there for a bit, but this was the first time I started like actually paying attention and really trying and staying current. And when that happened, you couldn't pay you could pay your way through, because you can pay your way through any content in this game. Uh, but those fights, you fight in Iron Man Infinity War with, the wrong champion, under level, not knowing what you're doing, in Abyss, and you're not killing that fight. You could be there for months. You're not going to kill that fight. There was a skill level needed. And then as time passed, I think we can all be honest and say things became purchasable. You could really buy your way through by getting certain champions. New deals would come out. They brought out the guaranteed 5-star. You just buy the 5-star that was needed for certain stuff, like the 5-star mags, which I think was like last year or 2 years ago when they first started selling champs in the store. And now you can buy, and you get your guaranteed 6-stars for Valiants and 5-stars for the lower in the pre bundles. With all these things becoming more available, and let's bring them up. Champions like Hercules existing, or even Doom, or other champions that very much just handle this game in most settings. Doesn't matter if you read the nodes. Do you think that with the introduction of the CPP challenges and the Winter of Woe, what we're seeing, not including today's challenges, because today's challenges, which would be the day Nebula was released, are significantly more doable. But last week with Absorbing Man and with the CPP challenges, and ignoring any of the complaints and the stuff we've heard around those, what are your personal opinions? do you feel like they changed the rules and made it too easy, and now they're trying to make it's kind of a bait and switch for those who thought, well, I'll just spend money and that's the game I'm playing, and now they're invested. KB, what do you think?
I could see the old. I could see the old rug pull. Kind of get you used to just buying your way through, pay to, not just pay to play, but pay to win. And then now they're like, oh, you guys actually need skills again, and I could see why. I could see people being upset with that. Yeah, I mean, I guess we probably have changed, maybe not necessarily changed the rules, but we've just changed. How do I want to say it? We've changed directions one too many times too quickly, maybe, and it's been met with a hefty amount of negativity.
Yeah.
Which some of it probably is warranted. A lot of people are spending, and you get used to that, and then you get hit with last week's abs man, and you're like, shit, I can't even buy my way through this. And I could see it. I could see the frustration, and it's valid to an extent.
And even those that can't, they get left behind, right? Like if you've gone to the custom to the point where like, okay, maybe you don't spend, but you've been able to keep up because you got Herc. You know, you got a 6-star Herc, you got your first ascended 6-star rank 5 because they were, you know, you've been able to gather this stuff and they've been giving out this stuff through easier content, and like just, you know, at points logging in, you get certain things that would have surprised us a few years ago. With that being the way it is, now those people, they have to decide whether they're going to have to start spending, or do they have to leave, you know, maybe their alliances require a certain amount of content, and if you're gonna fall behind in this new development, you know, where content starts becoming beyond your skill. And I'm not saying this is necessarily like things should be easy. I hope that's clear. I'm more discussing whether it was fair to the community to build in one direction, move from one direction, and back to another direction. So with the being left behind, he actually just walked away. So I'm gonna wait until Jay comes back. Pim, how about your feelings on this? What do you think? Do you feel like as someone who just recently left the game, did the change in direction have anything to do with it for you?
I saw the change coming, and I managed to take the opportunity to leave before it happened. However, it wouldn't have been about the skill that made me leave. It would have been more to do with it just, I don't know, the influx of almost no content than having content. And of course, the shift of the kind of content, as you were describing it, the pay to win to now you need the skills to win. And so it's like, I'm not that skilled of a player. I'm probably even less skilled than Prof Hoff. Like I barely make it to Gladiator Circuit as is with my battle deck being as good as it's supposed to be. But yeah, I'd say my feelings on it are that it sucks, but also a necessary change with how they've started to focus on defenders recently. In case you haven't noticed, with Onslaught and Bullseye and we're this month's
We
champion, the pain in the
we
behind.
disagree on defenders and what that means, buddy.
Defender cadence.
You just named my favorite champions to use on attack right
They,
now.
they are
so
great
I
offense
totally-
too. Like I think he's
Yes.
just pointing out the
They're
defense
all
side.
very difficult.
Yeah,
They're
what I'm saying is that they're painful on defense,
definitely.
is what I'm saying. Like, yeah, no, they're not strictly defenders, but they are definitely more defender focused with the benefit of being good attackers, if that makes sense.
Oh, that's definitely
Absolutely.
fair. Yeah, we've definitely hit a new vibe when it comes to like a new meta for the defenders. It happens every year or two, where they start introducing a new type of mechanics or something to watch out for. And we definitely hit that point where the new stuff was coming. And yeah, like you mentioned, you know, Onslaught and a few others, and I mean, Dust is giving people trouble, and God, she's great. Isn't she perfect? Oh, she's so perfect.
I could honestly see that coming with the combination of glancing animations and the triple immunities. I saw that coming a mile away.
She hits so hard. She hits so hard. She's so wonderful. I love using her. I had to spend the money and get her, and she's fantastic.
In my opinion, it's like she's got that prowess buildup of Storm with the triple immunities of Sandman, and also the debuff reliance, but also the ability to utilize those debuffs better, if that makes sense, while also being like kind of like Sasquatch in a way as well, or at least in terms of special attack throwing, combination of Sasquatch with I want to say future Ant-Man, the not utilizing special 3.
She's definitely a mix and match of a lot of stuff. She has a really solid blend of all of it, but I will say she's the one that I think people miss, and I think she's basically a mutant version, and that's one of the reasons why I love her, and I'm gonna rank her. She'll be going rank 5 as my next mutant rank 5, and then if I get her as a 7-star, she's gonna go rank 3. Like, I love her because she's basically mutant Cersei, and Cersei's a wonderfully designed cosmic champion, and it's basically you take away you change certain things to prowess, and that's what you get in a lot of ways, except added in immunities and a few other things. So she's wonderful. She's fantastic. But yeah, that definitely having to deal with the more defensive and new defensive types of champs could be something quite intimidating, and works its way into this because even to the point of when we have our EQ or side quests, side quests, I believe people just stopped doing them. But at the beginning of the side of the new incursion for the month or whatever, goodness, people were complaining about fighting both Riri and Dust so much, and that's fair. They're quite the pains to fight. So gated even in more monthly content to some extent can be a little intimidating for those who haven't been staying active, and or those who aren't willing to spend to be able to stay competitive. Jay, do you happen to be there?
Yeah, I agree. I don't really spend to stay competitive and being away from competitive.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I definitely agree with the defender cadence and kind of what you were talking about with just like I feel like a band for sure have taken a different direction, and I think they're also going into another direction. What I hope is like this as we're starting this direction that's been happening for a little bit, and obviously Pinhead, you taking a break, myself taking a break for the past couple months, and then once we jump back in, if we do jump back in fully, how different the game's gonna be. I kind of hope that it's not continuing in the it does continue in a direction, but I hope it doesn't stay this direction because I don't want to repeat myself, but like I don't want it to be like what I'm not enjoying with the game. Just kind of I did take Herc through a lot of through content, and I kind of felt like I was getting left behind with not keeping up with Battlegrounds because that's just not something I really enjoyed. Not doing Alliance War because I'm missing some champions and stuff like that. So I want to see some EQ and SQ as well being revitalized because, like you mentioned, not many people people are not obviously playing it, and I think, I'm not sure how to fix that, but I definitely think that was one of the big things. Like I never played SQ. It always felt like a drag because you're constantly spending so much time doing with my limited roster doing EQ, then SQ, then any other content. So.
Absolutely, yeah. It can become a lot like that. That's one of the whole aspects of having the low spend, or having a lot to catch up on, and finding the time to catch the story content and this and that, and with how much they put out and how much I can stay current. Last year, the same thing happened when they did the Eternity of Pain. I just don't have the availability with kids running around to be able to commit to grinding away champions like I can go do a couple fights here and there, but doing a fight like Absorbing Man from last week, sitting there and grinding and doing it over and over and over, I can do that, but like at 4 in the morning or 3 in the morning, and I'm too tired, and it's not going to be the best of me playing, and I'm waiting for the kid to start crying so I can go grab a bottle. It's not it's not something I'm interested in doing for my progression, and I'm taught like I'm a valiant, and while I'm not a terrible player, I definitely don't think I'm a skilled player. I'm fine. I can do some stuff, and I definitely use, like, I did Legacy's first challenge to get the piece, and I used like half my stash of revives to get through just one fight, which was Emma on one of the paths. Like, I just couldn't figure out how to get through. Finally, I did. But it's the amount of effort you're willing to put in. So with that being the case, and even with my account, I can only imagine how intimidating it is for someone to come back to the game. Say you logged in yesterday, Jay, and you see the content, the challenges pop up. I personally, I could totally understand being like, well, nope, and just close it and do something else. Like, I'm gonna go hop on my PlayStation because that's not as intimidating.
Yeah,
as this.
exactly. That's exactly how I feel. That's literally what I've been doing. Like,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and I definitely think that one of the things that Kabam should be looking into is a way of making the game. I don't think easier is the right word, but more they should give people who don't have as much time to be able to commit to doing certain pieces of content, such as EQ or certain pieces of side, like when it's long, drawn out, you have to go in every day and do paths, side quests. There should be opportunities or ways for people with limited time or rosters to be able to complete this content. Yes, it's a grind to work your way up to the hardest level of it, but I mean, I used to have time to run all the levels of EQ, like energy refills and whatever. I burn through them because I buy a lot of deals, so I usually have an abundance of them. So I would run all those for like whatever, just the mats and whatever. But now I don't even have the time or the energies to do that. There's only so much time in the day. So I definitely think to finding a way to make it more reachable would be a great idea. Something like that you could hop in, do a few paths, do an event quest, and I don't even think the rewards are important. I think honestly, it's a quality of life that needs to be fixed here. I think the rewards are decent. I think you got to improve the quality of life of accomplishing these things in a more condensed amount of time. And yeah, I have no idea about what they're going to do with this new. I do hope that they pick a path and at least stick with it this time.
Yeah.
Like, whichever way, that way people don't get. You can't get your heart set on like, this is my group of friends and I'm playing with them and I'm this good, and all of a sudden, people have to step back because they can't do raids because getting those raid requirements and X amount of revives doesn't work. Like, I've watching it happen, people struggling, and it's very hard to see because like they're good people, but they have their hard times sometimes, so it's a little disappointing.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that was one of my main questions, was focusing more on that Winter of Woah content. But when we move into the CPP challenges, I mean, those were really controversial, and I don't want to get into too much detail about what was said, but there was definitely some takes, and like I said, I did one challenge so far. I do plan on at least finishing 2 more. At some point, I would love to get myself a couple new 7 stars, and I'm definitely not doing that anytime soon because I don't have that ability in me. I do not have the stash or the interest in mortgaging my house to be able to pull it off. So with that being the case, what do you guys think? How have KB, how have you been feeling about the challenge? Have you hopped in and done some runs?
I did both the lags, which were enjoyable. Even reading them
Yeah,
was enjoyable. After
yeah.
reading fintechs, I was like, this guy is insane. Um, and then I saw lags, and I was like, oh, somebody understood the assignment and made this just for me. So I was like, this is great. And I knocked out those two. They were fun. I did struggle with part the 7.4.6 king, where
Mm,
some, and I think it was phase three. You have to be able to control your power when he throws specials. You have to be able to parry, and then
yeah.
fucking Stark Spidey just
Yeah.
automatically evades everything. So that one turned into like a little revive fest. I mean, the the first one wasn't bad. 7.3.6 wasn't too bad. 7.4.6 was bad, but it was still enjoyable. I haven't jumped into any of the other ones yet. I think if I do, it might be. I don't even know. It would either be Avengers. It would be one of Mike's. It would be Avengers or the Zemo.
Mhm.
Because, dude, Fintechs take out Dragon Man with just Mojo. Not happening, dude. I don't
So
know if I'll ever have a stash that'll get me there, or the intent to get
it's
myself
not even.
there.
I don't even think it's the. So in fairness, I have like I have all the champs I can pull. Like if I was good enough, I would have been day one, like working my way through all these. Like I've got the rank up stuff I need. Um, all my Avengers are pretty kitted out. Like they are kitted out. I have them all max sig. Like the materials will take them all up to rank 4, rank 5. I could go in. From what I've heard, it's a really fun run with Black Widow doing a lot of work because she's like the OG ability accuracy person. So
Yeah.
she's like really fun to mess around with in there. And I think you can take Hawkeye, right? And I think they have a synergy that works on that, or maybe that's with Quake only. I don't remember exactly, but basically, I looked at Finn's and I'm like, oh, I have a 7-star mojo. That'd be so much fun. And I was reading it, I'm like, wait a minute, which version of this is it you want me to do? And I realized it was the one without the nodes and like it's the one where you just have to go right through. And I'm like,
Yep.
man, I haven't even done all the chout, like the Karinas for that thing. I'm not going in there with one champion. And then the other one though, I mean, call me crazy, but that might legitimately be something I pull off because Jabari and Tiger are both like they're champions that I know how to play, and I've gotten really happy just messing around with them in content. Like I've never brought them into anything serious, but I've had so much fun just practicing and learning them. And Jabari's like the funnest character in the game to play. I don't know if anybody's had an opportunity, but if someone has like a 7-star or even a just you got a high sig 6-star, bring them into some content. She's so much fun. Her bleeds are ridiculous, and if you ever have a biohazard that you have to deal with, she just claps that node so well because the cleanse is awesome.
She
But
cleans it
yeah,
up, huh?
she does. But yeah, I'm really conflicted because I don't think that. See, TB, you said something interesting, and I want to touch on it. You said that Lags understood um, the mission. Basically, he got the idea of what to do there, and I really want to stress the point that everything I've read, and I will say, I think the other ones did too. I think that the whole point is they are supposed to be real challenges. Like, when you look at Necro is go in with Aegon and bring a few other champions, and you can clear Necro. You have a stash, you do your revive farmings or whatever, you will get your full clear. You will be able to pull it off at some point, like if you have the champions needed. This is in no way have the champions needed. Like everybody has a 5-star Stark Spidey. they gave them to us
Yeah,
because
they
of
literally
this.
gave them to us.
Yeah,
So
that's
I mean,
dope.
that was the moment where I went, "Oh, that's what this is. This is not about rank up your champs. This is about understand how to make them work for you. Like understand what Mojo Sig does to the different nodes and how it works. Also realize how hard it's going to be to use Mojo to fight Blade. Like I don't know. I do not want to do that. That sounds awful. But there are so many different like little niche things that I think it's cool to kind of see that they were thinking about. Like Finn's challenge, both of them are like for the very, very skilled, but they're also super clever. Like they are both very doable if you understand what both the champions like in the Jabari Tiger run. Like, yeah, you're gonna mostly Tiger it, but Jabari can do work, and it's very smart. And I really do think that you know, obviously I have my takes, and we're not gonna get into it, but I think that the community, if they took a step back and realized like you got to look at this as like the Everest, and that's what these are for. This is not complete it tomorrow. Yeah, there are always going to be people that can complete everything on every account that they have, and like they're just pulling stuff off. But that doesn't have to be everybody. And I think that was a really clever move. But I was surprised by the full take of it. So Pin, you're someone who is still very much in the community, but you've also taken a bit of a step back now. So from the game, so I would love to get your thoughts as someone who, from what you said, you weren't playing actively when you were 2 weeks gone, right? So this came out last week. So I would love to know your take on from what you've heard. Are you surprised with how the community reacted to these CPP challenges, or did you kind of see that coming?
Okay, so there are new challenges. I heard about them. I didn't exactly hear good things about them, but I heard of them. I don't know exactly what they are, but I can understand them being painful challenges. I mean, I haven't really done any of the volume 1 or 2. I think the most I did in Karina's was the 7 for 7 challenge for the 7-star shards. But my okay. So you said there was like a Mojo challenge and a Stark Spider challenge?
There's all each. So there was three of the CPP members. They were each given the ability, but also the responsibility of creating challenges. I mean, creating challenges, but it's like the same way as saying that we've had people in the CPP that have worked with the developers to create champions. You create, but you're not in there getting final say. They had permission, and they worked with the developers, and they created these challenges very much probably in line with what they were allowed to be able to do to some extent. I mean, they were given the ability to present these, and they have their names on them, and I'm sure that they are attached to it. Legacies literally screams, "This is Legacy's thing." So does Mike's and Finn, but
these are really
they
the most
definitely
personal
haven't.
ones so far.
I mean, I heard of
definitely
there
have
being a Zimbo
escalating
challenge, so I knew Karate Mike was involved.
Exactly. There's
Mhm.
escalating levels of difficulty. Like they work their way up from Legacy's being the easiest to Finn's most definitely being the most difficult, taking place in EOP.
100%.
Oh, EOP, that sounds like. Okay, not to make a pun here, but it sounds like a lot of pain.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So with that being the case, the community has acted. They've been very angry. They've taken it quite personally, from what it seems, with a lot of the creators feeling like they did it on purpose, and you know, there's a lot of anger. And I'm more surprised because I thought people realized like this is very much a game company that did this, they released this, and why would you present
Yeah.
it towards the people who are representing you to them? They are, some of them are paid to do other stuff, but when they represent as part of the CPP, they're content creators representing us in those chats when they give advice. So the way that they reacted to it just surprised me. I was very shocked by the negativity.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just wondering if you had seen that coming, or do you think that we just hit a weird point because of the other change in method that they've been doing with command?
I'd say I wouldn't exactly call myself surprised per se, because I know that people were complaining about things being too boring recently and all that stuff. And when you've got something coming and it's an actual challenge, you go to being engaged, but undoubtedly you're going to get plenty of backlash at the same time because people got so used to the old meta that they didn't know that there had to be like a new what's the word for it? A new difficulty setting being put in place, a new challenge to get them going. And when you've got people who have lives who also wanted to stay up there, it makes sense that they'd be a little angry, but at the same time it's like, hey, if Kabam didn't do something like this, you're probably not gonna be getting as much of the game, if that makes sense. Like I think Kabam did hit that balance, but at the same time they didn't hit it well in terms of balancing it appropriately to the people. I think they should have eased them into it, and I guess the champion release of Painful Defenders was supposed to be that way of doing it, but I don't know.
What I was thinking is that they were setting us up for a bit now with things getting a little bit more engaged and more not difficult, but you need to pay attention again.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Cool. Hey Jay.
Mm-hmm.
I heard you saw a movie recently.
Oh man.
I was wondering, do you want to take us into Legion's library? Maybe give us a short breakdown on your thoughts.
I did a little sketch for you guys.
Ooh.
A little. Can you guys guess who that is? I don't know.
I think I can guess who it is. I haven't seen the movie or anything, but no, I have actually no idea who that is.
Oh my! This guy is the villain of the movie.
Okay.
Yeah, you wouldn't really guess. I just wanted to see if anyone would recognize that because that is.
Oh, hold on.
A choice.
Let me look. I think I actually do have an idea of what that is.
Okay.
Is that Ezekiel?
It is Ezekiel. Yes.
Okay. I thought it could be.
I sketched his poster.
Ezekiel's the bad guy in the movie?
Oh, all right. Let's get into this. Okay, so
they don't understand Ezekiel. Cool.
It's it's Legion's Library, guys. Library, guys. Pinhead. First off, have you seen Madam Web?
No, I have not.
Okay.
Expensive movie tickets and nobody to go with. So nope.
Okay, that's fair. I don't recommend it, so that's perfect. All right.
I mean,
first off, I want to say that this movie is kind of like it's not like the worst movie ever. Honestly, I think it's kind of overhated, but it is by far one of the most flat superhero movies of all time. So if you'll enjoy that kind of stuff, you'll like. It feels like a very CW show. In fact, I'm pretty sure the ending they based it off of Birds of Prey, that TV show from like 20 years ago. Straight up,
that show.
They copied. Yeah, if you thought Oracle was an actual Oracle, this is literally what the movie would be. It is quite. They made more of a DC movie than a Marvel. But yeah, pretty much the trailer. If you've seen the trailer, you pretty much understand what the movie. There's not too much they don't really. They show more in the trailer than they should have, if I'll be honest. But yeah, I think the movie is really flat. A lot of the characters kind of suck. Ezekiel is by far the worst character because they don't explain anything about him. They don't. They explain how he has powers. So There's not really much comics to go off of, so I'm just going off the movie. Basically, he was not in the Amazon. They removed that. He was in the Peruvian jungle with Madame Web's mother. She was pregnant at the time.
Oh no, I've heard this quote.
Yeah, well, heard the quote. They removed the quote, but
Oh boy.
So yeah, they were in the Peruvian jungle. And so Madame Web's mom, basically her daughter, her baby inside her stomach has a paralysis disease that will leave her being paralyzed for the rest of her life. And so she's in the jungle trying to get a spider that's from spider people, Los Arachnos, which is cool. Trying the spider, which will give her spider powers, which should allow her to survive. However, Ezekiel was hired to be her bodyguard, and he basically betrays her, steals the spider, gets cursed, and that's how he's got powers. And he leaves the mom to die, but before the mom dies, she gets bit by a spider because the spider people rescue her, and then Madame Web's born, but her mom died. And so that's why Madame Web has powers that she awakens 30 years later. I don't know. I didn't write this movie.
Her powers awaken 30 years later.
From dying, yeah. So she drowns in the river. Ben,
of course.
Yes. I don't know.
I know. I do know about that too. Yeah, about Adam Scott's character. I know about that.
Okay, Ben is great. The best character by far is Ben Parker. So Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
Great casting, and actually probably the most well-written character. Because
Adam Scott's perfect.
He's
always.
Yeah, it's a simple thing to get well done. And I think people really wanted him to return if he does play in another Spider-Man movie, if he could play a young Peter. Because this movie was originally, the script was they're going back in time because they're trying, Ezekiel's trying to kill baby Peter Parker, which I didn't hate because if you know Ezekiel's comics, he betrays Peter, and that kind of made sense. In this movie, it's just that he's cursed, and his curse is that he sees his own death. And so basically the three Spider Women, they kill Ezekiel and steal his spider. And so every night he has a dream that he'll die to them. So in 2003, he gets some NSA technology and facial reconstruction software to find these three Spider Girls. And he's chasing them down because he knows they'll kill him. And that's basically the premise of the movie. Madame Web dies and she awakens her power, so she's protecting these three girls because the web of fate and destiny. I don't hate that part. I think that's great, actually. And as this movie basically goes on, Madame Web awakens her power. She gets her precognition and slowly getting into her role as the Madame Web. But the movie is very over-explained, dude. It's like they over-explain everything. Like, it's Deus Ex Machina. Like, this happens and this happens, and there's just no, like, it goes from point A to B. But yeah, I wanted to make a little game real quick and see if you guys will, if this happened in the movie. I explained a lot of it, but all right. Is this a quote from the movie? Yes or no, guys? Remember, you're the madam of this web. You are Madame Web.
Yes, absolutely.
I want it to be. Yes.
Sure.
All right, it's not real.
Oh.
Okay.
Dude.
Okay, more spoilers. The three Spider Women never get their powers in the movie. Did this happen?
True.
What? I'm gonna say
Never.
No, of course, they had to get their powers.
It's a superhero movie. I'm gonna go with they did.
Yeah.
So besides the death scenes that obviously, the nightmare that he has, they have their powers in his nightmares, and also Madame Web sees the future, but they never actually get their powers in present day. So, yeah, only Madame Web is the only person that awakened her powers.
So it's a. So we were speaking earlier in this podcast about a bait and switch, and that was the ultimate one we just discovered.
Okay.
I've seen the thing with Sydney Sweeney in the app. What the heck?
They promoted them hard, dude. And honestly, my work, like, I really wanted to see more of them because I think Madame Web works as if you've if you've watched the Spider-Man animated show, if you've read her comics,
Mhm.
she's kind of that, not really a mentor, but just kind of like in that sort of mentor role where she kind of helps out. You see it a lot in the animated show, which I like. You remember like the Beyonder and Madam Web and like the Secret
Yeah.
Wars they did in the show. I kind of liked that.
Give me that now that you're doing X-Men 97. Give me
Yes.
my animated Spider-Man. Go find Mary Jane. What happened, guys?
Yeah.
I'm still
So.
waiting to the end.
Oh my god. I'm sure that animated show will come out. All right. So here's another one. Ezekiel dies to a large Pepsi sign.
Yes. 100%.
I'm gonna say yes because that is way too oddly specific.
Okay.
I'm gonna say it's a Coke sign.
It's a Pepsi sign, and Pepsi
Oh,
have a marketing deal for this movie.
yeah, Pepsi had a marketing deal in this movie.
Wasn't Pepsi the company that did the whole thing with the large naval fleet or whatever?
I have no
I think
idea.
there was something having, what was it, seventh largest naval fleet at some point or something like that.
I've never heard of that, but that's really funny. Not only did this
I'm not
Pepsi
up on my
sign
soda trivia.
kill Ezekiel, by the way, so his nightmares weren't true. I guess. He still dies. He falls to his death. So the Spider-Verse people don't actually kill him in his dream. He just falls to his death, and then at the end of the movie, he gets crushed by the Pepsi sign. I heard about. Apparently, Jim heard about Naval Fleet of Pepsi. That's funny. This Pepsi sign also blinds and paralyzes Madam Web in one sweep. Like I said, very ex
It
machina.
blinds and paralyzes her, and then finishes off the bad guy.
Yes. So you could truly say it should be called the Pepsi sign. Spider Pepsi.
Sign.
Madam
Spider.
Pepsi sign. Pepsi Web.
All
I
right.
mean, that's fantastic. This
Okay.
movie sounds wonderful.
All right. Peter Parker is in this movie.
Oh. No.
I mean, I saw him, Scott. He's pretty young. I don't think so. I don't think there's baby. Like there's maybe a baby. No, I don't think
He's
there's
Uncle Ben.
Oh, he is Uncle Ben. So then there is.
Yeah. So Mary is
There.
pregnant, and he's born at the end of the movie. He's not named though, which is a little weird. But I think it has to do with the Sony deal and Spider. You know, the weird thing.
So they're going with
Okay.
with that version of Peter's birth, and not the one where Aunt May's the mother. I said
There's
that
like
just
four-
that's gonna make you upset, probably, Jay.
No, I like the way
four
they.
different spiders, but I think that would be like 4 possible Peter Parkers. It could be. Yeah, 2 of them already retired. The third one recently had his 3rd installment, and the 4th possibility being that they're going to recast him again, of course.
Well, so it had to
Which
be
one do
Peter
you
born in
think?
2003. So they're clear. If they were to allude to any Spider-Man, they'd have to be alluding to Tom Holland's.
It's Tom.
Tom Holland.
Yeah, Tom.
But this is a Sony movie, so you know.
Yeah.
Only the first letter of his name was muttered. Yeah, Jim got that. So yeah, he's in the movie, and honestly, Mary's character is fine, and she even mentions why Peter's dad Richard isn't in the movie, because if you know they're spy comic, like he's like, oh, he's probably in this country or that country or this country. I think that's actually cool. Like that was a cool comic reference.
Is that actually something that they stick with? Because that's like proven, disproven, proven, disproven,
Yeah.
popularized because of like the animated show at one point, and like it's been so many mixed things. So that's what they're probably going with, is that his parents have been spies. That's cool.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
I like it better than the Ultimate Universe. Ben Park, I'm sorry, you don't get to tell me that Peter's dad created the Venom suit. He didn't do that.
All right. Mr. Nichols in the chat, he says, "Hey, to be fair, a firework actually blinded her." Okay, yeah, I guess that's true. So the Pepsi sign is on top of a firework building. Yeah, She just gets hit with a firework in the eye, and that's how she actually gets blinded as the Pepsi sign is falling on her. FYI.
I'm gonna be honest, dude. The more you talk about it, the more I want to go see this movie now.
I want to see this like twice in a row. I just want to go watch this movie.
Okay. I got one more.
Awesome.
All right.
Madam Web has the ability to make spider mirages of herself.
Yes, that has to be a thing because it makes no sense, and this movie's made no sense. I'm saying there's definitely a thing.
Sure.
I've said yes
I mean,
to everyone so far. So I'm
Sony
going
keeps
yes.
changing their spider powers, so sure, why not?
You guys are
They're
correct.
gonna change Craven's story.
Oh,
You guys are
that's the
correct.
best part of this whole thing. Is
Yeah.
Mirage spider powers.
No, but it's so weird because it's
Then
Ezekiel's
you
like,
saw-
you have to save one, and then she's like, I'm Madam Web. I could be at 3 places at once.
What? That's a Madam Web thing?
I don't know, man.
Goodness.
Honestly,
Why
it felt very like video game gimmicky, where it's like, it felt very trial and error. Honestly, this should have been a video game. Honestly, like having the trial and error in controller powers would have been cooler because it'd be like, oh, it's a video game. You can reset, and I think like it should have been a video game.
It sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
So stupid.
Honestly, though, if you would have to, because because I haven't seen anything beyond. I saw the first Venom. If you could do me a favor, Jay, can you rank the current Sony movies in order for yourself?
I don't like.
Not counting before Venom though.
Um, honestly,
Venom 1 was pop.
Yeah, it was
It was
fine.
rough.
I wasn't like in love with it. Before I do this, Jim says when evading the bad guy, do the girls at the diner dance on tables? They do, yeah. So Cassie kind of kidnaps them in a taxi, and she's like,
We get a Coyote Ugly moment.
yeah. And so they leave her because she's like, I'm going to the Peruvian jungle to find out what happened to my mom. And
I'm
then
gonna go see this tomorrow.
yeah, I don't know. It's true though.
Yep.
It tries to be like that CW like 2000s energy. It really does try to be.
I mean, yeah, that's not even like the Flash and like Arrow. That's like Smallville.
Yes,
Like,
it's
that's like
Smallville and
Smallville.
Birds of Prey. It is that 2000s era CW.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's what like
one more. Mr. Nichols says, when you
fucking
accept
washed.
responsibility, great power will be yours. True or false? Is that in the film?
It's so bad. I would say yes, but I'm gonna say this will be the first one. I'm gonna say no.
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no.
I
I'm gonna
wish.
go with no
I
as
wish
well.
it was no, dog. When you accept your responsibility,
here?
great power will be yours. Oh man.
So they butchered the iconic. So they did. So they. I don't care. Like personally, Madam Web's not an important character in the great scheme of things. So like they could do whatever they want with her, and it doesn't bother me. Any kind of powers they want to give her, sure. She's not like I'm someone who, when they have a character, if they introduce a character and they say this is a lore accurate character, if it's not, I'm going to call it. And I'm going to be upset because I want it to be. If you're selling me on it, it's got to be. Madam Web doesn't need to be because she's so. I don't know. She barely has powers, and like she in the comics, she died a long time ago, and like her powers have been doing much better with someone else. So like, bye, Madam Web. Not a big worry for me. But when you change things to try to make it fit into like little jokes and little callbacks, something like with great power comes great responsibility, and you change it and manipulate it and. No, that's disrespectful. That's a little disappointing.
Yeah.
I'm still going to have to see this movie like 4 times, but I'm going to be disappointed probably a few times during them.
Dude, like I don't
Because
hate this
that-
movie, man. I just think it's so stupid. It's such a stupid movie. Like it's not even that I
Oh,
hate
no,
it.
yeah.
It's just stupid.
Yeah.
Is it worse than Morbius?
Okay, honestly,
Morbius.
I kind of enjoyed
I've
Morbius
never watched
more
it.
because I just hate it. Like, but that's not the popular opinion. Most people say this is better than Morbius. But I would say
it was
I
a more
enjoyed
billion times better.
I don't know, man. Maybe because I had some hope. I was like, if Sony want to keep like, obviously they make these movies so they can continue their deal, which is the more they have to say, hey, we own the rights to these characters and we're using the rights. That's basically why they make these movies. That's why Craven's coming out later this year. El Morte, Hypno Hustler.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hypno Hustler is going to be hilarious. I am so excited for that.
Who's Hypno Hustler?
Oh, you're going to have to stay tuned for an upcoming library.
Yes, sir.
Because that's a deep dive.
It's so...
We will...
Yeah.
Oh,
there's only one
there's
comic I read with him.
There's some good comics from like years ago where at one point, that's something I hope that we can touch on coming up when we do an episode of the podcast more based around comics and like the differences between what we see in even the representation in the game we play or other games that we play of these villains, and how many have never been referenced or touched, and how cool some of these more obscure villains from like Spider-Man or Daredevil or we're having a Fantastic Four movie coming out. You know how many weird villains they got that it would be so cool to touch upon.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I'm
Diablo,
sure
Mole-Man.
Bro,
I mean,
others.
Those are just the ones that.
Those are the surface level ones.
Yeah, there's some real deep cuts. I'll still say when asked what's the one random character that you would think would be introduced along into the game along the same lines as like a Howard the Duck, not something that beyond being referenced in a few things here and there. Howard the Duck was a niche character. Somebody liked him. For me, I kind of want Texas Ranger to be introduced. I think he was fantastic. I love him. He's so funny. And his comic from years ago that I got for free at a baseball game was him and the sharpshooter. I don't remember her name. She was like a female and she shot something out of her fingers. It was a crazy superhero team and they fought the Frightful Four, and it was a great comic. And I'd love to see someone like that. It's basically Whirlwind, but like a good guy. And like super cheesy Texas rodeo guy. Love it.
Oh, Whirlwind. Yeah, apparently in my opinion, one of the more notable characters from the EMH cartoon, Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that, actually.
Oh, is Whirlwind in that?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. He fought Wasp when he first appeared, and then he ended up in what was it called? The Big House?
Accurate to the comics. The Rat?
Also a mutant. So if he gets added to the game, he could be another mutant, but like with wind abilities.
He's not a mutant.
Not a mutant?
Not in comics.
No, he was given his power. He was given his powers by the Mad Tinker, I think.
Mad Tinker.
Tinker, not Thinker. Tinker. Tinker. I think that's who did it. I know that he upgraded.
Oh shoot, he was born a mutant. Dude, I didn't even know that.
Was he?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, because I remember him being called a mutant in the cartoon.
Huh. Is that been redone, or is that...
Let's see. Let me see.
It might not have been like, when we're talking Silver Age, that might be more
no,
current.
it's definitely Silver Age. Tales to Astonish 50. Dude, yeah, I had no idea.
There you go.
There's some things where it's like,
cool.
come to the animated stuff, it's like, can I trust that? They say he's a mutant,
That's
but
why
I don't remember him being a mutant.
I don't usually, I appreciate all the animated stuff for the most part, but I don't count it as, canonical to, what you're going to get in comics. You can't.
Dude, there's been so many changes.
There's been so many changes and so many takes, and, every take is so different, and, the amount of different Spider-Man and the teams that he apparently has started or been part of. Like, I would love for there to have been a team where Spider-Man learned how to be Spider-Man while teaming up with White Tiger and Luke as Power Man and
Oh,
Iron
Ultimate
Fist.
Spider-Man.
That would
Yeah.
have been so good. I loved that show. That show was fantastic.
That was a good show.
Yeah, it also had a better version. It was a better series with Iron Fist than the Netflix one, I want to say.
Guys, we don't need
Yeah.
the slander of Iron Fist, okay? Let's move
I
on.
don't personally, I will tell you, the only issue Iron Fist has is that he's a character that was created in an unfortunate way where he is technically right. I mean, he's not.
Yeah, no, it totally is.
insensitive.
It's just like Shang-Chi. When Shang-Chi was created, dude, the Kung Fu craze of the 70s. It's so, yeah.
Oh, I mean, having his father be Fu Manchu was probably the most racist thing they could have ever done. Like, it just literally was
Very
the most racist thing. But no, Iron Fist is like super racially insensitive, and it's unfortunate because the character is very cool. But
I think there's room for both, man. I love Danny. I won't get into it, but I love Danny, and I think there is room for him to be introduce him and then make him a mentor to the next generation Iron Fist, who is more culturally appropriate to the role. I think would be like my favorite.
The Netflix ended with Colleen Wing.
Yeah, Colleen Wing being the Iron Fist. But
which I have no problem with.
But
yeah,
Danny also had his powers because he's got the bullets of the immortal. He's got the bullets of
Oh, what's his face's bullets?
Yeah, exactly. He's got the guns, so they both have the Iron Fist powers. So I think that's cool.
He's using, that's very cool. I have no problem with that. Like, Danny doesn't have to go away.
Yeah,
he just he can't be the white
front runner.
savior,
Yeah,
is the big problem.
No, for
yeah,
sure.
that was...
he can't. Like, the whole idea, the joke that used to happen. It was one of the most uncomfortable jokes that would always happen in Heroes for Hire. Was that, like, if Luke showed up at something without Danny, it wasn't considered legitimate. Like, he'd be questioned oddly because it was a black guy showing up and the white guy. It was very uncomfortable. And, like, that's stuff that they used to rely upon. And, you know, they've moved away from that. And Danny's character has grown so much. Like, the Avengers run where he, it's during Civil War and everything when they're like doing the new Avengers, and they basically Danny puts them up because like they're living with Strange, and then they find like the Iron Man's team finds them. Then they start living in these different like awesome places that Danny owns, and it's a great little like sign of just he does everything for charity, and all his stuff is
his whole character really is like
super amazing guy.
His whole thing is like he's born with like white privilege, and the whole thing of him being the Iron Fist is like his dad was the reason he got stranded in like his family and his ties, and like he has to unlearn everything and embrace his whole new. And I think that's really cool and very still prevalent just because of just the world with the way the world is.
The story still can work. It just has to be acknowledged
done well
for what the story is.
I know, like the show struggled with like Danny was kind of mansplaining everything, which he was in the show. Like I get it. There's room for improvement.
I personally have no issue with the show or with the actor or any of it. I know that the only thing I have a problem with is the actual fighting in season 1. I understand he did it. I understand it was in some ways okay, but in most ways, that's not what I'm expecting from the Iron Fist.
Yeah,
is all I'm saying. There had to have been more Iron Fist being Iron Fist, and that's not what I was getting. But besides that, I'm really interested to see because I believe that there is talk about the actor coming back. I think that
there's talks for all of the Defenders coming back.
Well, they've talked about the fact that there is good chance that we're seeing most. But the only one that had said he hadn't heard up until a few weeks ago was the guy who played Iron Fist. And I believe he just said, "Oh, I've gotten a call recently." So we don't know what that means. It
Yeah.
might be just a courtesy call with, "Hey, we're recasting," or something like that.
I don't know. They don't give
Like,
courtesy calls anymore.
Hey, it was nice having you on here. However, with the times, we need to change things. Goodbye.
Yeah, more or less.
I will
Like,
say,
hey, we'd love to have you back.
Daredevil. Jim mentioned
What is-
something, but Daredevil is filming right now, and you can
Mhm.
tell they're really embracing the comics. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but
I've seen some
the
stuff.
set photos I've seen are like, dude, they're doing this, and
Did they bring back? Did they bring back the support cast?
they
too?
did bring back the support cast. Yes,
Oh, they. Ooh.
yeah. So they brought
Will
back.
Punisher come back?
That's fine.
I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything, guys. If you've seen the set photos, you've seen the set
All
photos.
right. All right.
I'm just not. I'm not a big.
I will say
fan
there are
of
some
the Foggy.
surprises though. Some old faces, some new faces. Just saying.
But I mean, the big thing is Deborah Ann Wolf back, and is the guy who played Foggy back, because those are my big.
Yeah, they're
I
back.
like Deborah.
Foggy
I'm not a
and
huge Foggy fan.
Karen are back.
I hope they write Foggy better then. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
They need to give that guy.
I couldn't
a lot
believe
more
the
of a
original
brain
script
and
they
a
wrote.
lot more of a. Such a mean guy.
He looks cooler too. Like they give him a haircut and everything. I'm excited.
Foggy's just a nice guy who's just like, I'm your ride or die to Matt. And in the show, he absolutely was not that. Foggy goes to jail for Matt. He does. He goes to jail because he's like, I'm Daredevil. And they're like, okay. And he goes to jail for a bit. That's love.
That's brotherly love.
Yeah.
Dude, it was
but
cool.
No, I'm extremely excited.
Dude,
it's very exciting.
It's gonna be good. We are at 1 hour, guys. So I want to say we didn't cover the trailer for X-Men '97, and that's just because Pastor Coco isn't here. I wanted to save that for when he can be on the show.
Absolutely.
He loves X-Men as much as I do.
Oh yeah, sure.
And
yes, absolutely.
And Pinhead, I want to say thank you for being our fill-in dude. I'm glad that we can have someone.
Appreciate it so much.
Yeah, I'm glad we can have someone who we can always have 4 people on and just kind of have so many different opinions and different views and different stages of where we are in the game. It's just really nice to have discussion on the game and outside the game. It's just great. So I appreciate you, my friend.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no,
thanks,
it was
man.
no problem, man. Well, I hope you guys do well next week. I hope all of you are able to review it next week.
We've got some interesting stuff. I mean, we haven't even been able to. We had a few things we weren't able to get to today, but we've got a bunch of stuff planned for next week. Biggest one will definitely be a couple trailers. I'm looking forward to talking about, and also we're gonna do a game that Jay came up with. And we're also going to, I want to make a suggestion that everybody come up with a game you want to recommend to our audience. And we're all going to recommend a fun game to just, when things are a little rough and you break from MCOC or whatever is in your life, we're going to recommend something quick and easy to sit down and play. So get your thinking caps on, guys.
Yeah.
Just took mine off, but let me put it right back on.
I always love
It's
doing
already
that.
on.
I always love doing that. Is like cycling games. Like I just love get burnt out on one game, go to the other, get burnt out on that game, either go to another or go back. It's just really nice. Keep in rotation of games you enjoy playing.
God nowadays. Yeah. Exactly.
I have to finish my challenge on the game. I'm currently on Skyrim. You can see all the gameplay on YouTube actually, but still. Yeah, I have to finish the challenge before moving on to the next one, to be honest.
Shout out your YouTube channel.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I think it's Pinheadious or Pinheadious Nielsen. Either one works, I guess. Definitely Pinheadious for sure.
Definitely look that up. I'm going to check it out myself. I'm looking forward to it.
I'll tag. I meant to do it
Yeah.
before the stream. But all right, man. I think that's
Yeah, let
gonna
me
be
see
it.
if we can.
Fantastic. Well, I'll speak to you guys in a week.
Have a good night, dudes.
Have a good
Whoa,
night,
you have fucking
everybody.
balloons on me.